You keep messing this up and you don't even see it. You're sitting there checking her profile, waiting for her name to pop up, wondering what she's thinking, trying to decode every post, every pause, every scene, with no reply. You tell yourself you're just being patient, but you're not. You're handing her all the power and calling it effort. You think she's over you. You think if you just say the right thing, chase a little more, wait a little longer, she'll finally open up. But that's not what's actually going on. She misses you, not once in a while. Every day, she picks up her phone, sees your name, scrolls through old messages, thinks about writing something, and then locks the screen again. The problem isn't that she feels nothing. The problem is she refuses to show it. She's not scared of you. She's not even mainly scared of rejection. She's scared of looking soft. She's scared of needing someone. In her head, needing a man means losing control. So she'd rather feel tense, lonely, and confused than admit you matter to her. So now there's silence. You think it's calm, but it's not calm for her, and it's not calm for you. It's constant tension. She checks what you're doing. You check what she's doing. No one says anything. She treats you like a test she refuses to fail. She's trying to prove to herself that she can stay distant, that she can win, even while she thinks about you all the time. If you've ever asked why she ghosted, when things seemed good, why she pulled back, right when you got close, why she starts posting a lot the second you stop chasing, this is why. You've been trying to be nice. You've been trying to show effort. You've been trying to prove you're serious. And the whole time, you've been playing into a dynamic that destroys your confidence. This is where you're wrong. You think chasing her will fix her fear. You think proving yourself will calm her ego. You think more attention will make her feel safe. It doesn't. It does the opposite. It tells her she's in charge. It feeds her need for control. It keeps her in her head and keeps you out of your own life. So this is where everything has to flip. If you're ready to stop letting her silence control your mood, if you're done letting a girl's reaction decide your value, this is where you change. Number one, her ego fights her feelings and you keep rewarding it. She wants connection. She wants to feel close to someone. She wants to feel safe with a man she respects, but she's been taught that if she shows that, she loses. She's seen relationships where the person who cares more gets hurt more. Maybe at home, maybe in her past, maybe through social media. Whatever it is, it trained her to see emotion as a risk instead of something normal. So now, every time she feels a strong pull toward you, something else kicks in. She feels interest, then her ego steps in. She feels attraction, then her guard goes up. She wants to reach out, then she goes cold. Not because you failed, but because showing how much she cares feels dangerous to her. And this is where most men break their own power. You see her pull back, and you panic. You start trying to reassure her. You send long messages. You double text. You tell her you're not like other guys, that you aren't a threat, that you won't hurt her. You think you're being kind and patient, but you're confirming exactly what her ego wants. Control. Now, in her mind, she can switch on and off. She can decide when you feel close and when you feel ignored. She might not do this on purpose at first, but the pattern rewards her. Every time she acts distant, you chase harder. Every time she pulls away, you feel lost. That makes her feel powerful, even while she's stressed and confused underneath. The only way to deal with a girl who is stuck in that pattern is not to give that pattern any control over you. That doesn't mean being rude. It doesn't mean acting like you don't care when you actually do. It means being centered enough that her moods don't throw your whole life off track. You need to be the guy who can feel interest, feel attraction, even feel pain, but still keep his behavior steady. Not numb, just stable. You can like her and still keep your day the same when she pulls away. You can miss her and still hit the gym. You can want things to work and still walk away if it becomes disrespectful. Every moment you spend chasing a girl who is scared of her own feelings is a moment you take away from your own life. You think you're fighting for love. You're not. You're fighting her ego, and you will never win that by pleading. So your first job isn't to win her back. Your first job is to build yourself so solid that you don't bend every time she hesitates. That looks boring from the outside, but it changes everything. You wake up early, even when you don't feel like it. You train your body on a schedule, not on emotion. You fix your diet. You build your income. You learn new skills. You hang out with men who call you out when you slack instead of guys who normalize being lazy and obsessed with girls who don't respect them. When your life is strong like that, she only has two options. Either she starts matching that energy, or she fades out. And if she fades out, you didn't lose anything. You just saw her real level. Because when your world is full, her presence can add to your life, but it's not your source of air. That's when you stop being forgettable. That's when you stop getting dragged into drama. That's when your calm stops being an act and actually becomes who you are. Number two, your silence flips the power, but only if it's real. Most guys think they're going silent when they're actually just sulking. They ignore her, but they still sit on their phone. They don't text, but they still stare at her stories. They say they're done, but they're still mentally waiting for any sign from her. That's not real silence. That's just noise inside your own head. Real silence is different. Real silence is when you stop trying to force any result with her and start caring about your outcome in life. You don't stop talking to punish her. You stop chasing because it doesn't line up with your standards anymore. You stop replying to games. You stop reacting to dry messages. You stop asking for clarity from someone who clearly isn't ready to give it. And instead of sitting there doing nothing, you fill that space with real work. You train harder. You start that side hustle. You kept delaying. You study. You read. You fix your posture, your room, your habits. You spend time around people who want to see you win. You stop being the guy who refreshes chats. You become the guy who barely looks at his phone because he has things to get done. She feels that. She's used to men who fall apart the second she pulls away. She's used to guys explaining themselves, posting indirect quotes, trying to prove they're different. She's used to being the center of everything. So when you actually let go and get locked in, the whole vibe changes. She goes to your profile and sees more progress, more confidence, more consistency. She sees you in the gym, at work, learning, improving, not trying to show off to her, just living at a higher level. That calm distance bothers her way more than a long emotional message ever would. Not because you're trying to hurt her, but because she can feel that she's no longer the main thing in your life. She may test that. She may post something aimed at you. She may send a random message. She may try to pull you back into long calls or confusing text. But the power shift already happened. You're not orbiting her anymore. You're building your own path. You're helping your family. You're mentoring younger guys. You're learning how to communicate, how to lead, how to plan, how to manage your money. You're learning how to be by yourself without feeling empty. A man who is okay by himself is not scary because he's cold. He's scary to every belief that says a man should be on standby waiting for attention. When you stay silent and focused, she has to feel her own absence. She has to look at her own choices instead of hiding behind your reactions. You win. At that point, not because she calls or apologizes, but because you stop needing that moment. You outgrow the version of yourself that begged for love. You stop needing to be needed. You give love when it fits your standards, not because you're empty. Your silence starts to show something simple. You know your worth. You protect your peace. You are busy with a life that matters to you. And one day you notice something important. You're not checking your phone every 10 minutes. You're not wondering what she's doing. You're not building your schedule around her replies. That's the real turning point. That's when her silence stops being a threat and becomes background noise. Number 3, she can't stand it when you don't chase. In her mind, distance is supposed to make you run toward her. She's seen it happen over and over. A girl pulls away, the guy tries harder. She stops replying, he sends longer messages, she acts cold, he doubles his effort. That pattern trained her to feel safe only when a man is overinvested. So when you don't chase, it throws everything off. You don't spam her. You don't ask what you did wrong 12 times. You don't scroll past her posts just to accidentally like one. You don't watch every story the moment she posts. You just stop engaging with the same energy you had before. You don't hate her. You don't start a fight. You just stop trying to hold up something she keeps letting drop. To her, that means one thing. You have options and you know it. You have options in women, but also in life. You can walk away from something that doesn't build you. You can let things end without begging. You can choose yourself. That idea shakes her more than any speech you could give. Because if you have options, that means you're not stuck. It means you're not under her control. It means the pull back and he chases harder. Routine doesn't work on you. That's when she starts to feel real pressure. She expected your value to fall when she pulled away. She expected you to fall in line like every other guy. Instead, what actually happened is the opposite. Her behavior just showed you what kind of attention she deserves from you. None. You were already complete before her. After she steps back, you become even more complete because you use that energy to grow. And that's what actually bothers her. It's not just that you're silent. It's that you look calm and focused. You look free. To someone who needs constant attention to feel in control, your freedom looks like disinterest. But it's not disinterest. It's detachment from the idea that she is your goal. Your goal is your life, your health, your money, your standards, your purpose. When a woman sees a man detached like that, honestly and consistently, she enters new territory. Her usual moves don't work. Her delays don't pull you in. Her dry replies don't inspire long explanations. Her sudden attention doesn't erase the pattern you already saw. She may send light messages, view your stories, bring your name up to friends. But none of that pulls you back into that old version of yourself because you're not centering your world around her anymore. You're protecting your focus. That's when she starts to understand that she's the one who lost position, not you. Number 4. Your strength is in not reacting. Anyone can react. Reacting is easy. She posts something that seems aimed at you, and you reply with something indirect. She leaves you on read. You send a long paragraph. She disappears. You chase. That's automatic. What's rare is the man who can feel everything and still respond calmly, or not respond at all when there's nothing worth responding to. You've been told that being a man means always explaining yourself, always making sure she understands, always trying to fix any tension. That mindset keeps you trapped because it turns every little mood swing into an emergency. Real strength is knowing when silence is healthier than another argument. It's knowing when walking away protects your dignity better than one more wall of text. When she uses distance, when she pulls back affection, When she goes quiet without reason, most men panic. They chase because they're addicted to her attention. They feel like they can't breathe without constant reassurance. You're done with that. You learn a simple rule. If something costs your peace, it's too expensive. If every move she makes sends your emotions through the roof, you're not in control of your life. Your whole day depends on someone else's moods. She may want to see if you'll crack. She may want to see if you'll start a fight, or if you'll keep trying to explain your worth. But when you stay steady, when you don't take the bait, the whole pattern fails. You don't clap back. You don't send, "We need to talk" messages. You don't write essays about how you feel disrespected. You simply stop showing up where respect is missing. That breaks the cycle, and it teaches you something important about yourself. You're no longer programmed by emotion. You're no longer jumping at every test. You're building something that lasts longer than a mood. She's used to a certain kind of power, emotional power. She's used to seeing men change their behavior around her stress. When that doesn't work on you, she has to face her own behavior instead of hiding behind your reactions. Now she sits with the results of her own decisions. Your lack of reaction becomes a mirror, not a performance, just a clear line. You, on the other hand, become someone she doesn't know how to handle anymore. You're not a backup, not a toy, not a source of constant validation. You become something solid and stable, and that kind of man is hard to forget. Number 5, women respect distance more than desperation. Most men think showing they care means constant messages, constant availability, always being there no matter how they're treated. They think loyalty means accepting anything. Then they're surprised when that energy doesn't get respect. Women don't respect desperation. They don't respect emotional begging. They don't respect a man who gives more than he gets without standards. What they respect is a man who keeps his space clean. Not cold, not angry, just clear. A man who keeps moving forward even when someone pulls their attention away. A man who stays kind but doesn't chase. Distance here doesn't mean blocking her everywhere and making a scene. It means giving more time to the things that build you and less time to things that drain you. Your distance is not an act. It's a result of you prioritizing your growth. You don't rush replies. You don't pause your workouts because she finally texted. You don't drop your plans to fix her mood. You don't stop your progress to guess what she really meant. You start to see your energy as something valuable. Every minute spent overthinking her behavior is a minute you could have used on your health, your money, your learning, your future family, your mission. Look at the men who are respected long-term. They aren't the ones who begged for attention. They're the ones who stayed on their path. They didn't ignore women. They just didn't make chasing women their main identity. Distance, in this sense, isn't hiding. It's a filter. It shows who can handle your standards. It shows who respects your time. It shows who wants to join your life, not control it. That's what actually pulls a high-quality woman in. Not games, not mixed signals, but consistency and purpose. You stop being always available. You stop being predictable. That makes you stand out without trying. She may not like your distance at first. She may argue in her mind about it, but deep down, she respects it more than any desperate apology. Because now there's a clear difference between the men who bend for her mood and the man who has a life bigger than her mood. While she's thinking back, she'll remember the times she left you on read just to see if you would double text. She'll remember how she used to post with the goal of getting your reaction. She'll remember the attention she took for granted, and now none of that works. Your name doesn't pop up in her notifications anymore. You're not in her comments. You're not in her messages. You're not giving her free reassurance. You didn't just disappear into nothing. You disappeared into progress. You disappeared into progress. You're still alive. You're still active. You're just not centered on her. She can't screenshot that. She can't explain it away. Because it's not about a game. It's about you choosing a higher standard. You didn't switch off your feelings with one decision. You just looked at the reality. Your focus was sliding away from your goals and wrapping itself around her reactions. You saw how easily your mood changed with her seen or online. You saw how far you drifted from the man you wanted to become. So you took your focus back. You didn't write a big goodbye speech. You didn't lecture her. You just changed your behavior. You filled your days with real things again. Your distance is not revenge. It's a statement about what your life is for. It says your time is for people who respect it. It says if someone wants access, they bring peace, not nonstop drama. In a world where everybody is available all the time, where most people answer any message right away, controlled distance is rare. The man who can say no to distraction without being bitter has real power. You're not glued to your phone. You're glued to your goals. You're not studying her patterns. You're studying your next step. Every day she doesn't hear from you, her image of control fades a little more because she sees that you were never obsessed. You were paying attention. You noticed the change, and instead of fighting it, you adjusted your life. She starts asking herself questions. Who's in his life now? What is he working on? How is he so calm? She might think it's another girl, but the real answer is simple. You moved back to yourself. You returned to the version of you that had dreams, that had plans, that wanted more than attention. You're building that guy up again. And once you do that, you become hard to replace. She may never tell you this. She may never admit any of it out loud, but she feels it each time she posts something hoping you'll see it and you don't respond. She feels it each time she opens your chat sees no new messages, and realizes you stopped chasing. What she feels at that point isn't just jealousy, it's respect. Not the kind you beg for, the kind you earn by growing. She knows now that when she had your presence, she didn't understand your potential. And now that you pulled your presence away, she finally sees the value of what she lost access to. Number 6, become the man she can't manipulate. At some point, she notices something that changes everything for her. Her silence doesn't move you like it used to. Her beauty doesn't control your decisions. Her delay doesn't change your whole week. That's when the illusion breaks. Her power with most men never came from who she is as a person. It came from how men reacted to her looks, her attention, her mood shifts. She learned that a certain look, a certain pause, a certain text pattern made men chase, worry, bend, explain. But with you now, none of that lands the same. You don't chase when she distances herself. You don't go crazy when she stops replying. You don't feel the need to fix her feelings every time they change. You don't argue about basic respect. You don't send emotional essays trying to make her see your value. You don't try to convince her to stay. You simply move forward with your life. Now she moves from control to reflection. She has to look at her own part for once. Whether she grows or stays stuck is up to her, but you're no longer trapped in that. For you, this was never just about outplaying her. It was about growing into a man who doesn't collapse under outside pressure. A man who knows his values, knows his goals, and keeps them even when he feels lonely. You learn that manipulation only works on someone who depends on approval. When your identity is built on validation, anyone who can give or take that validation can move you around. When you stop seeking comfort in drama and start finding comfort in progress and discipline, games lose their hold. You don't spend nights decoding passive aggression. You don't stay in endless loops trying to prove you're good enough. You don't fight for closeness when the other person keeps pulling it away on purpose. You just keep leveling up. She can either rise with you or watch from a distance. You're not blocking her growth, you're just not lowering yourself to stay familiar. You already chose yourself. You already saw your potential. You already decided your value doesn't bend because someone might walk away. You build such a full life that games feel boring. You're busy training, working, laughing with people who actually show up, planning your future. You're not sitting in a corner waiting for one person to change their mind. The man who can't be manipulated is not made of ice. He just sees things clearly. He doesn't let confusion run his day. He doesn't let fear of being alone chain him to people who treat him like a backup. At some point, she sees the full picture. She realizes that either she respects the man you've become, or she loses real access to you. There is no version where she keeps controlling you while you keep growing. She knows you're not a boy who needs constant approval. You're a man who can walk away in peace. That kind of man stays in a woman's memory for a long time. She'll feel regret, respect, maybe even fear of never meeting that level again. But that's not your concern anymore. Because while she was focused on image, you were focused on character. While she was measuring your reactions, you were measuring your results. While she assumed you'd wait, you outgrew the place where she left you. You didn't become cold, you became clear. You don't hate her. You just refuse to live in a loop. You understand now that her silence was never the real problem. Your lack of standards was. Once you raised your standards, everything changed. Now your standards protect you. Your purpose guides you. Your calm is your strength. Her approval used to be the end goal. Now it's just extra. If it comes, fine. If it doesn't, your life keeps moving. She'll think about you long after the chats die, not because you chased, but because you didn't. Not because you begged, but because you built. She'll remember that you're the one man who didn't shrink to stay. You were never just a page in her story. You were the moment she saw the difference between a man who needs attention and a man who has direction. And you're done staring at closed doors. From here on out, your focus is simple. Build yourself so strongly that you never again feel owned by silence, games, or anyone's approval.